Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Kayleigh Grows. And today I have like a different kind of video that I haven't really done yet. I mean, I guess most of my videos are different from each other. But I'm going to talk about the 10 types of plants I will never buy again. So I've had a lot of plants that have either come into my life and they've died, or they've come into my life and I've given them away because I just wasn't a fan. And these 10, a couple of them are like really specific plants. A couple of them are like a genus of plants. A couple of them are like a kind, I don't know. But yeah, so these are just different types of plants that I just like never want in my life again. Yeah, so if these are your favorite types of plants and they do really well for you, please share some tips, because the reason why I don't like them isn't because they're ugly. It's because I just can't take care of them. So yeah, let's just kind of jump into it. All right, the first type of plant I will never buy again is any type of ivy, like any kind. I think ivy is beautiful, and I would love to have like a long strand of ivy or like a big trailing basket. Like I think that would be absolutely beautiful. And I bought a lot of ivy when I was in the very beginning of my plant journey because it was cheap and readily available, and I thought it was really pretty. And every single time it just had a horrible, horrible death. It like either completely crisped up and died, or got like a ton of pests and died, and or it just rotted. Every time it was these horrible deaths. And I just will never, ever have ivy again. There's so many other plants that are beautiful, that are trailing, that do not have all these issues. And I know I'm not the only one to have issues with ivy. It's just, And it stinks because one of my favorite iguanas that I've worked with is named Ivy, but I hate the plant ivy. So yeah, that's one plant that I will never buy again. Okay, the next type of plant is like a specific kind. And this is the string of pearls. I think the string of pearls are gorgeous. Like I genuinely think these are some of my favorite plants to actually look at, just because they look so different than anything else. But boy, I have never had good luck with string of pearls. I have tried 3 times with string of pearls. 2 of them were in a relatively small pot. One of them I think was like a 2-inch and then a 4-inch. And then I got a 6-inch pot, because I was like, oh, maybe I just like am struggling with the smaller, less mature plants. No. All of them have like crisped up, or their roots have rotted out, or they've gotten pests, and just like there's so many little pearls that if they get pests, it's like impossible to get them off. And the pest thing happened when I was early in my plant journey, and I didn't really know how to take care of pests. But after that, I even tried cutting off all the pearls on the one that rotted and tried to reroot them, and they did reroot, but then rotted again. And that one I wasn't able to save, and they're absolutely beautiful. If you can keep them alive, that's good for you. I cannot. So I will never be buying a string of pearls ever again. Okay, the next one I think is funny, because when I started collecting plants, this plant was like the end all be all. This was when I first found Plant YouTube, so I guess it's like a little bit later in me collecting plants. I didn't know that Plant YouTube was a thing until the pandemic started, and I had already collected plants for a year or 2 at that point. And this is the Pilea peperomioides. Oh my gosh, was this plant everywhere? Absolutely everywhere. It has these beautiful like UFO leaves. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. And they're just so strange and interesting looking, but these plants, they grow in the worst way. They'll pop out all these babies, which is great. But if you like slightly under or overwater them, they will lose all the leaves on the bottom half of the plant, and it gets this like really bald looking plant. And mine, no matter how much light I gave it, I wasn't able to get those like big, beautiful leaves. So I was only able to grow these like tiny little leaves that almost looked like duckweed. It was awful. I had 2 different kinds of these. I tried giving them to different friends. I had one friend who had like really good luck, and she kept this plant for a long time until her like cat ate it. But I will never buy one of these plants again. Every once in a while I see them in like Lowe's or Home Depot or something, and I just laugh because I'm like, oh wow, that's beautiful. I feel bad for the person who ends up buying this. Awesome plant, horrible to take care of. All right, the next one kind of makes me sad. I don't know why it makes me sad. And this is umbrella trees. This one kind of has like a maybe on it. So I have tried to grow a couple of umbrella trees, but all of them have been very small. I would be willing to try a large umbrella tree, but there's plenty of other plants that I want more than umbrella trees that are really large. So like, I don't think I would end up buying one, like actually using my money on that. So yeah, I don't know if I have like overwatered them or underwatered them, but all of them, like, they look great, they look beautiful, and they look like gorgeous, and they start to grow, and then just suddenly they lose all their leaves. And they're gone. They're either completely crisped up or they're completely rotted, and like they don't show any signs until they're completely dead. And it's just like, okay. I have had this happen 3 times, I believe, 2 or 3 times. Again, earlier on in my plant journey when I wasn't spending much on my plants. Now I know that if I spend a tiny bit more on these plants, I still don't spend like a ton, tiny bit more on these plants, then they will usually do a little bit better. But no, I will not buy another umbrella tree. I think they're beautiful. If they do good for you, that's great. They do not do well for me. Okay, the next one I think is a specific species, but I don't know if it's a genus or a species. I'll have to look it up before I post this video. I'll put like the species name up here. But this is the nerve plant. I also have had a ton of these plants. Mostly earlier on in my plant career. I've gotten one as a gift later on in my plant career. I don't know why I'm calling it a career. Plant journey, plant collecting, I don't know. But these plants are very similar to the umbrella trees, where they look beautiful, they look awesome, and then just suddenly they completely die. And it's like a very quick death. There's not much that you can do because they die before you can even try and save them. They're all over Home Depot and Lowe's, and they're really cool looking, but I have never seen a large plant of one of these, and I'm convinced that it's just because they're like impossible to get that big without greenhouse conditions. They're beautiful. If you can keep it alive, that's great. I cannot. I definitely cannot. These nerve plants, nope, cannot keep a nerve plant alive. I will never buy one ever again. All right, the next one is pretty broad, like very, very broad. And this is most succulents. Most. I am not a succulent girly. I don't do well with them. I tend to overlove my plants. And succulents, I just have not been able to figure out the perfect mix of like neglect and care. Because so many people are like, oh, succulents are so easy. They thrive on neglect. No, they do not. Because if you underwater them, they will crisp up and die. If you overwater them, they will rot and die. And they need this perfect mix in the middle. And I don't do well with that. I either need something that tells me when it needs to be watered, or I need something that is okay with me forgetting about it or watering it too many times. I'm just not good with succulents. Plus, I like things that, I guess I shouldn't say that about succulents. I was going to say I like things that grow a little bit faster and you can really see the growth, but succulents do tend to grow pretty fast if you are taking care of them the right way. The only succulents that I have had luck with are like euphorbias and more like cacti type of thing. And then for some reason, I had really good luck with my bear paw. I will not go out and buy the like really specific, like when you think of a succulent, this is what it looks like, that kind of one, or like the burro's tail, anything like that. No, not going to buy any of those. I've never done well with them. I either give them too much sun or not enough sun. I overwater or underwater. It's just, I am not a succulent girl. So if someone gives me one as a present, great. I will try my very hardest, but they don't do well in my care. I am more of a leafy plant person than a succulent girl. So just will not buy most succulents. All right, the next one is like a really specific one. It's a specific species, and this is a Rhaphidophora decursiva. I have like a vendetta against this plant. I think they are beautiful. I think they're gorgeous. I don't think that they can be grown indoors. They are this like really beautiful, like split leaf plant, and they don't climb. I tried to get mine to climb up a pole. It did not. They don't crawl. Like they try to crawl, but they won't grow roots appropriately to be crawlers. They just send out these long spindles with like no leaves. I've seen a couple different people online do this. I've chopped mine back so many times and I ended up just completely tossing this plant because its leaves that I got it with started to die because they were just aging out. And no, this plant just, no. It is beautiful. And if it works for you, that's great. Let me know how it works. But like, no, I tried so many different things with this plant. I had this plant for a couple of years and it just never looked good. It took up so much space without ever looking good. So I will never buy a Rhaphidophora decursiva ever again. No, not for me. All right, the next one I'm pretty sure is like a genus as well. And these are waffle plants. Yeah, most of them are like purple waffle plants, but they also have some that are like fuzzy and some that are like white. And again, these are ones that you see all over the place in Lowe's and Home Depot. They die very quickly in the normal home setting. And I have learned this many times, again, in the early parts of my plant career. They don't do well. They just burn if they're too close to the sun, but if they're not close enough to the sun, they rot. So I have rotted many of these because they're just so beautiful and I've tried all different colors and that kind of thing. Nope, they just completely die. No, I won't do that again. I will not buy a waffle plant ever again. No. I don't know why Lowe's and Home Depot and everything like that even try with these plants. Actually, it's probably because people buy them over and over again because they die. So maybe that's why they do it, because I can't do it. No. All right, another one is really, really broad. Begonias. I've tried lots of begonias. I had one Rex begonia that was doing really, really well in my care. I think I just had it in the exact perfect spot. And then it was on like a windowsill. One day I had my windows open and it blew off the windowsill and completely fell apart because it just like blew off and I was never able to save it. And I've never been able to take care of a begonia ever again. So I will not be buying any begonias because they're just not for me. That's another one that they need the perfect amount of sun and the perfect amount of water. And I just do not do well with these plants. No, I'm not a begonia girly. At one point I was thinking that I would try them again, because there are some really cool begonias, especially like maculata with the spots and stuff. No, I've tried that one too, and it never grew for me. It just slowly crisped up and died. No, I can't do begonias. I can't do it. Okay, and then on the other spectrum of succulents, I have ferns. No, I can't do any ferns. Any ferns that I've tried to do, I end up underwatering them once and then they never bounce back. Because ferns, they need a lot of water. Like, you need to water them almost every day. And which is funny because like I have carnivorous plants and they live in like a boggy setting, and I actually do pretty well with my carnivores. But ferns? No, I can't do it. Plus, once they start to get brown, they're just ugly. Like, I'm not a fan of the way that they look once they start to get brown. So I'm just not a fern girly. I love like the huge ferns that people will have like hanging on their porches. Still just not for me. I can't do it. I would love to love ferns, but I don't. So unfortunately, we'll never be buying a fern ever again. All right, so that is all that I have for you guys today. These are the 10 plants that I will never be buying again. Please let me know if you guys agree. Please let me know what your 10 or what plants you will never buy again. I might agree. This isn't the only plants that I'll never buy again. Yeah. So if you guys like this video, give me a big thumbs up. If you guys like me, subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you. And I hope to see you guys again on the next one. Bye.